As a meditation teacher who helps people when their practice goes wrong, many people have told me that meditation makes them feel worse. I've had people tell me everything from meditation gave me anxiety to it made me put on weight. The latter is actually more real than you might think because meditation slows your metabolism. At this point, I'm just waiting for somebody to tell me that meditation gave them a parking ticket. Have you had a negative experience with meditation? If so, write a comment because I'd love to hear about it, and if you have a question, I'll do my best to answer it for you. Now, the first thing that I want to mention is that these issues with meditation are more common than you might think. Well, not the one about the parking ticket, but the others. But the second thing that I want to mention is that in my 20 years of experience, I have never come across a situation or a person for whom meditation could not be made to work. In this guide, I'm going to share what I've learned about fixing meditation when it seems to be making things worse. If that sounds good to you, then please go ahead and hit subscribe and turn on the little bell notifications. So let's start by discussing why it happens. Now, I hate to say it, but 90% of the time, these issues with meditation arose because the person didn't respect meditation enough and went into the practice without proper training. But that's not really their fault. Influencers, app developers, and the media have gone on and on and on about how darned easy meditation is. You know, those same people who think they're ready for Everest because they've done 2 sessions of hot yoga and they've watched Eat, Pray, Love. Sadly, those guys made people believe that they don't have to take meditation seriously. So let's change that. Let's approach meditation with the respect and reverence that it deserves. After all, remember, meditation was first designed for monks who spend their lives training. It's also so powerful that it can alter brainwaves to near seizure-like neural activity and extend the length of telomeres, which are the #1 marker of longevity. Oh, and it will disrupt your default mode network, which will wreak havoc with your sense of self if you are not ready. Let's also talk about anxiety. fMRI studies show that if a person tries to suppress emotions with mindfulness too early in their training, they will increase amygdala activity, which will significantly worsen their anxiety. Even meditation texts themselves, such as the Visuddhimagga and the Tibetan Book of the Dead, directly state that rushing meditation will lead to pain, including trauma. But app developers and influencers know better, right? Nah. So let's look at a wiser way to approach meditation. In a nutshell, the wise way to approach meditation is to consider who you are as an individual, and especially any challenges that you might have. Also, consider how to work with your own mind and which techniques are going to help you, because although all techniques do have benefits, they might not all apply to you. So let's start with who you are. In my private meditation sessions on the daily meditation, I always ask my clients some basic questions to work out who they are. For instance, I'll ask about their general mood and any mental health challenges that they might have. This is vital because it informs me as to where we should and should not go with their meditation practice. For instance, if I discover that this client frequently experiences depressive thoughts and that they're new to meditation, I will avoid techniques that are too introspective because they'll simply amplify that negativity because the person's not ready. Such a person Such a person would do much better with meditation that focuses on the body or the environment, therefore avoiding the pain that is in the mind. Note, as I mentioned, this is only in the beginning. It changes once they become more experienced and more skilled. And how about a person who frequently experiences dissociation from meditation? Very common side effect of meditation. Well, they clearly should avoid dissociative meditations, right? Such as Vipassana. Associative techniques like sensory association would be significantly better for them. And so, in starting in this way, by analyzing who you are and your unique challenges, you can begin to create a framework for your meditation practice that works for you. Now, next I want to discuss the path. There is something of a path to the way that we should approach meditation. Now, please understand me on this. I 100% believe that you have every right to approach meditation however you see fit. But if safety is a concern, and bear in mind I work with a lot of people with trauma, if safety is a concern, then definitely there is a specific path that we should go through meditation on. Anyway, so you basically want to avoid anything that you're not ready for. I recommend that in the beginning, you start by learning grounding techniques, by knowing how to anchor yourself in the moment, because this will stop you from drifting off and getting too lost when you meditate. Exercises like basic body awareness, mindful walking, 5 senses work, things like that will help you to get anchored. Once you know how to ground yourself, you can then go into the techniques that everybody talks about, things like mindful breathing, anapanasati, and vipassana. These are dissociative, but in the previous step, you learned how to stay anchored, so you're now good. And with these techniques, you will start to calm and clear your mind. You can also do methods like body scan and somatic meditation here as well. At this point, you're anchored and you're calm and you've created the groundwork to go into deeper meditations, which are usually spiritual methods such as self-inquiry. If you had done these meditations earlier, you would lose yourself in visions and you would drift off to goodness knows where, or you might sink into what is already inside of your mind, which might have been painful before you did the previous steps on the path. You could end up like that horse in the never-ending story that drowns in mud because it can't find its way out. Hebbian plasticity shows that reinforcing neural pathways associated with trauma will significantly worsen that trauma. Finally, you're good to go to the advanced meditations such as Kundalini and Merkaba. These are your final boss meditations. They're dangerous for people who haven't leveled up enough, and they are known to potentially cause anxiety attacks when done by the uninitiated. There's even a name for this, Kundalini syndrome, which refers to the damage done to the nervous system by doing energy practices too early. But if you follow this path, you're trained, your mind is ready to advance. And so that is the path that I recommend. As I said, it is totally up to you. How you meditate, that's your choice. But in my experience as a meditation teacher, if you skip any of the steps on the path that I just went through, you might end up feeling worse because of it. Have you ever rushed into a meditation technique that you weren't ready for? If so, please leave a comment. I would love to hear about it. Now, here's the hard truth. No matter how wisely you approach meditation, it is always possible that you could experience negative effects. So here are some emergency procedures for when things go wrong. Firstly, just stop. You don't have anything to prove by making it to the end of your designated period of meditation. Go back to the very basics. If you're in a meditation session and things go really, really bad, which does happen, just remind yourself, I'm just sitting on a chair in my room. I can feel my feet on the floor, my sitting muscles on the chair. I'm just breathing. Just remind yourself is what's actually happening. Open your eyes a pinch. If you're going too deep, opening your eyes will increase sensory stimuli from the outside world, helping to pull you back. Just do mindfulness exercises. If you're in a bad patch in general and your meditation consistently keeps feeling bad, just go back to something easier like basic mindfulness exercises, like spending half an hour just calmly listening to relaxing music or taking a walk in a relaxing park. That is sort of like a preliminary step for when you're not ready for the path that I mentioned previously. So let's wrap this up like a Nintendo 64 at Christmas. If meditation makes you feel worse, well, you are not the only one. It definitely can happen, and it is usually caused by a misunderstanding of the practice. But you know what to do now, so that's really going to help you. By acknowledging your own challenges and respecting meditation with sincerity, you can create a practice that is going to make you feel great. This is precisely what I specialize in on my lessons on the daily meditation. If you're interested, just search for the daily meditation. Tons of really great free content on there that I've produced for you as well. If you have any questions about anything that I've discussed in this video, please leave a comment. I'm always happy to answer your questions. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe. I already said comment, so now I've said it twice, so you've got no excuse not to do it. And that's it. That's the whole thing done. All right. Thanks, my dearies. I will look forward to seeing you next time.